Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, y'all.
Welcome. Let's see here. Try to get that to stay back, but just want to get the picture, but it won't. Okay. See if I do this, it gets more of the flower.
Oh, you want that?
Well, yeah, if you can.
Okay.
If not,
I'll get it.
it's okay. Okay.
I might.
Well, so this is Wednesday, December. I'm in December already.
Oh,
November 12th. November
Yeah. We
12th.
had snow yesterday.
Yeah, first snow.
About 5 to 6 inches.
About that much,
Yeah.
yeah. Anybody else get snow?
Yeah.
You can let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And speaking of comments, we want to welcome Nadine and John Marciano, Elaine Brain Drain, Happy Thoughts, of course, Shauna, my good wife.
Us. Willie B. No.
Yep.
Willie
B.
B. 933.
Yes. Jane Spitfire. Skygram.
Change.
Dallas. Hi, Dallas. Happy Thoughts from the UK. And more will be coming on. Hi, Debbie. Debbie Moore's here.
Hello, Debbie.
And Denise Hedberg. My God, no snow here. Well, that's good because, well, we like snow. It's pretty.
Well,
but
yeah.
You got to be careful driving in it.
We don't choose it,
No.
but it kind of just comes.
What I don't like is how it gets dark so early.
Oh, yeah.
It was dark by 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
dark in the morning till
dark in the morning.
About
8 o'clock.
8.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you got to work out the light conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway, glad you're all here. And our theme tonight is marriage, domination, or cooperation.
Wow.
Heavy.
It is. Unfortunately, it is.
But we're going to talk more about that. Wild Wall. Hi, Wild Wall. Thomas Hugson, and who else? I think everybody's here.
Jane, Thomas. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
That one. That one videographer who's a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
He's
a
lawyer?
marriage counselor, therapist.
He's not a lawyer, is he?
No, I don't think so.
No, he's amazing, actually.
Yeah, we're going to listen to a video of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, we subscribed to his channel, and we get an email every day. Yeah. Really nice.
Yeah.
All free. Anyway, we've got some birthdays, anniversaries, and some announcements. Maybe we can get right into those.
Let's. Birthdays this month, November 1st. Tyler Aarons. Happy birthday. Go ahead, honey.
November 2nd, Devin and Dino Tedusca.
And November 4th, Sherry and Annie.
November 5th, Tom Ross, Ellie Doyle, and Caitlin.
November 6th, Michelle Stump.
November 8th, Maria Marciano, John's mom.
November 9th, John Marciano and Amy Huber.
November 10th, John Briggs.
November 11th, Ryan Ann.
November 13th, Thomas Hudson, Cheryl Soletto, Missy Chick, and Trevor Wall.
November 14th, Shannon Hamilton and Nadine Davies.
November 15th, Kev Gowan and Corey Carter.
November 16th, Steph Woke Up and ExJW Rosie.
November 17th, Matt Kiefer.
November 18th, Bobby Burns and Tanya Smith.
November 21st, Bill Keeler.
November 23rd, Angie Havens and Vicki O'Rourke.
November 24th, Sue Carlio and Malia Thompson.
And November 25th, Tori, David's wife.
November 26th, Margie Stone.
November 29th, Felicity and Elaine Braindrain.
And November 30th, Wesley Slack. So let's
Happy
play
birthday,
the
all.
happy birthday song. And as Dakota would say, happy, happy birthday.
Be happy.
Anniversaries for the month of November. November 5th, Rich and Tanya, 42 years.
November 7th, Mr. and Mrs. Bob, 27 years.
November 14th, Sam and Beverly Harward, 38 years.
November 15th, Tad and Kumi, 30 years.
November 15th, Sam and Beverly's granddaughter is getting married.
Gotcha. Getting there.
Mm-hmm.
November 21st, Mr. CIA and wife, 55 years. Great job.
November 22nd, Jay and his wife, 29 years.
Happy
Happy
anniversary,
anniversary, everyone. Okay, and we've got some upcoming events. This Sunday, November 16th, we have two events. We have an ExJWFriends meetup, and that is going to be right here in Frankfort, New York, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And please bring a dish to pass. Yes, so we had to change the date. We originally were going to do the 9th, but we are doing it the 16th, this Sunday. And the address is 704 South Frankfort Street, Frankfort, New York, 13340. And if you want to let us know what you're bringing, just give us a call or a text. Okay? And then also November 16th, there's going to be brunch, unicorn, and fall colors at the New York City meetup. And that's from the Liberati. They are meeting in Fort Tryon Park overlooking the Hudson. We'll gather at 1 o'clock for brunch at the Tryon Public House, then take a leisurely stroll through the cloisters around 2:30 to explore its breathtaking architecture, the world-famous unicorn tapestries, and the captivating and sensual special exhibition, Spectrum of Desire. Hope to see you there. Sounds like a nice meetup. So if you're in the New York City area and you want to check that out, just go on our website, ExJWFriends. And on our second page, we have our therapist and life coaches. And hopefully we're going to be adding a new therapist, so be watching. But those are the ones that we have on right now. You can read their bio and how to contact them. Again, these were all former Jehovah's Witnesses. So if you need to talk to someone, please contact them. Okay. And I think Sean is going to have an announcement.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hope you guys are all having a great Wednesday. So Vern got some exciting news. He's got a date for his upcoming therapy on December 9th. We just put together this little something for you guys to watch.
Help us find relief from the pain that has taken over our lives. Vern's pain makes daily life unbearable. We need help for treatment. Please help us get the care we need now. Help us heal, please.
Well, there you go. Just a real GoFundMe.
Sean, yeah, where is the website? Where is the GoFundMe? Is it on the website?
We'll put it back on the website now that we actually have a date. So that's why we pulled it off. But yeah, thank you very much to everybody who has given. And we really appreciate you guys even just sharing it. Just help us get the word out, please. We really want to get this done and get back to things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll keep promoting it.
Yes.
well, thank you for the time tonight.
Oh, thank you, Shauna. We have a few other announcements. If anyone knows Dick or Rich Borgie, he's known by either one, but he's on the 6 screens. He's in the hospital. He had surgery, amputated his big toe. So he had the surgery the other day. I think everything went well. And if you want to send a card to Rich, get in touch with us. We have his address, or Rick Fearon. You can get in touch with him. But he's doing okay. We also, during the week, we had greetings from someone that lives in Tobago, Trinidad, and we have someone in Pakistan named Tariq. I think I'm saying it right.
I missed that one.
Tariq.
Oh,
Tariq.
Tariq. I don't know.
And then Charles is south of Mexico City. So if anyone is in those areas and they want to meet up, just let us know and we can connect you. And we also have, we want to give a shout out to Jayla. She's going to be listening tonight, and we just met her the other day. Jayla.
Hello, Jayla.
All right. So I think that was it for the greetings,
I think so.
unless you can think of anything.
No.
Any other
No.
thoughts?
No.
If Fran pulls out a whip and hand it, okay, Wild Wow. None of that. Sorry to hear that. He's glad he's doing good. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, the topic tonight, marriage and domination. And the reason why we picked that was because, well, so many people, when they leave the organization, they lose their spouse because they're either still in the organization and they want to be loyal to whoever they want to be loyal to, and the one leaves. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes it results in a split up, a divorce, a breakup, a separation.
Yeah. But even the marriages within the organization are not, they don't approach marriage the same way and for the same reason that people do otherwise anywhere else in the world. I guess you could call it a very functional marriage. It's designed to fit into a function. And so what it does, it has its own little rules and its own philosophy and its own methods and roles that each is supposed to play. And it's frankly, it's a role that's written by Watchtower. Watchtower basically has even written the roles that people, men and women, have to play within that Watchtower marriage. And it has some really devastating effects on people.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in contrast with, another way to conduct your relationships, your marriage relation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're going to go into.
And the other group, that the couple leaves together, maybe they leave, but then they realize that the only thing that was keeping them together was the organization, going to meetings together, going in service, going to conventions. But when they leave the organization, they realize that they don't have anything in common anymore. And that sometimes causes a split up, divorce, breakup, separation. So there's all different categories.
Yeah.
But this video is so good. So see what you can pick out, and maybe there's some tools that we can all use to improve our marriage, or those that are thinking of marriage.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That tone when they're frustrated. Eye rolls during conversations. conflicts that leave you hanging because it's not worth fighting about. These feel like normal marriage moments, right? Wrong. What you're actually doing is slowly poisoning each other's brain chemistry. Every eye roll, every unresolved fight, every moment of invalidation is rewiring your nervous systems to see each other as enemies. And by the time you realize what's happening, the damage might be irreversible. You're doing everything right. No affairs, no screaming, no nagging, no dramatic betrayals. Your friends probably think you have it figured out. You're the ideal couple, right? But you're dying inside. You pass each other in the hallway like polite strangers. Sex feels like checking off a chore. You catch yourself fantasizing about being single again. Then you feel guilty for even thinking it, but you're going to think it again tomorrow. The person that you're married to is sitting there 3 feet away, and you've never felt more alone in your life. What's terrifying is that you can't really pinpoint exactly when it started, and you certainly can't figure out how to make it stop. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I've spent 16 years studying something that terrifies most marriage counselors: the moment when couples cross from fixable problems into permanent neurological damage. I've worked with over 1,600 couples myself, and I can tell you this: the ones who save their marriages aren't the ones who communicate better. They're the ones who understand that they're dealing with brain trauma, not relationship issues, and they act before the damage becomes irreversible. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 everyday behaviors that are killing your marriage right now, and how to know if you're already past the point of no return. Most couples don't realize that they've crossed into irreversible damage until it's too late. And what I'm about to share with you will either save your marriage or confirm it's time to start planning your exit. You're going to know exactly where your marriage stands, which wounds you can still heal, and whether you're wasting your time trying to fix something that's already beyond dead. I will warn you, this video here today is not going to have comfortable information in it, but it's better to know the truth than to waste years of your life in a marriage that's well beyond repair. Now, I'm going to get into the wounds here in a moment, but first, we have to talk about hidden neurological damage. Here's what that actually means. Most couples, they focus on surface level behaviors. They miss the underlying neurological brain destruction that happens when those behaviors are present. Your brain doesn't distinguish between emotional wounds and physical trauma. Both trigger an identical stress response in your nervous system. Every wound that you inflict on each other as a couple creates a cortisol association. Your brain associates your spouse as a source of danger. You make me hurt. You associate pain and agony with their presence, their voice, their smell, everything about them. And that cortisol association destroys your chances of connecting. Now, every wound floods your system with this cortisol, the same hormone released when you're being physically attacked. This cortisol, by the way, when it's present, blocks your oxytocin receptors. Oxytocin being that bonding hormone that gives you a sense of belonging, connection, affection, and warmth. That blocks in the presence of cortisol. So the more cortisol you associate with your partner, the more your receptors lock tight and shut in their presence. So that even if you go in doing date nights and talking to each other and trying to have fun, your receptors are clenched shut and won't let you bond with them. You cannot feel connected or safe because your brain won't let you. Then your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, starts cataloging your spouse's behaviors as dangerous and malicious, even when they're not. Now, unfortunately, many couples where both people are trying to be good and loving, and there's not a villain in the piece, even good couples, they don't see these wounds coming. These wounds can develop so gradually over time that your brain adapts to the damage. You think growing apart is sad but normal, and you just accept the decline because it's so gradual. You're focused on the relationship problems while your nervous systems are quietly building walls against your partner. By the time you notice the emotional distance, really feel it, years of neurological damage have already occurred. And the scariest part, these 7 wounds we're about to talk about, they often look like normal relationship behaviors that we've all come to expect in our Western world, where marriage is laughed at and spit on. You might be causing brain trauma right now and think it's normal and have no idea of what's coming. So it's time to go through the 7 hidden wounds that kill your marriage. Wound number 1, Invalidation. Telling a person what they're feeling isn't real or isn't important. I know it seems minor, and we do this a lot, but it creates massive neurological damage. Your partner's nervous system starts viewing emotional openness with you as dangerous. Sending the message of, I don't care about your pain and I'm not going to help you fix it, turns you into their enemy. Now, what does invalidation look like? This is what I'm feeling. No, that's not how it is. This is what it feels like to me. No, you're a liar. This is how bad it is. No, that's not really happening. Stop exaggerating. That's not it. You're wrong. Invalidating. I don't care that you're hurting. Here's how I see it, and that's all that matters. Most of us don't mean to do this. We do it when we're stressed, we're already upset, we're agitated, we feel defensive, we feel attacked. Your brain interprets this, though, as abandonment. You're not important. I don't care what you have to say. You're in pain. Sucks to be you. Not my problem. When we invalidate our partner, your partner's nervous system learns they can't trust you to speak up or with problems, concerns, sadness, hurt, their inner world at all. I am hurting. I am sad. I am scared. Shut up. That's the message. Shut up. This is invalidation. Now, validation, the opposite of this, does not mean, wow, you're right. That's exactly how it is. I will do anything. No. I am truly sorry that you feel that, and let's find a way to make it right. Some people will stop at, I'm sorry you feel that way. Validation is, I'm actually sorry that you feel that way because I care about you and I don't want you to be hurting. I don't know that I agree that that's what's happening, but if that's what you feel, then let's deal with it. How can we take care of you so you don't feel that way anymore? That's validation. Invalidation is anything short of that, okay? Your nervous system learns, you make my pain worse. Wound number 2 comes with a stack of invalidation, unresolved conflicts. As you let these conflicts linger, this is a problem. No, that's not how it is. It builds up for 3, 5, 10 years. That's not how it is. So we're not going to solve it. Unresolved conflicts that just blow up. You have a big fight, you stop, and you can't fix it. So now you can't talk about it anymore. These unresolved conflicts linger for a really long time. And what happens? You both try to pretend everything's fine. This creates ongoing neurological stress and tension and fear, and it starts blocking your oxytocin receptors from each other. Unresolved issues become a cortisol trigger that activates whenever something related comes up, any related topic at all, which keeps the nervous system in a chronic state of hypervigilance around their partner. Even worse than this is the male brain doesn't relate to problems very well, so it doesn't see that this one thing is related to this arguing match they've had for 5 years. The female brain makes massive connections. So if he's been invalidating her and not resolving issues for 10 years, everything ever connected to that reminds her of that core wound all the time. I get asked all the time, what is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? So I have finally launched the attachment assessment. This is not a short quiz that just spits out an answer after 3 seconds. This is a thorough, in-depth, science-backed assessment. Check it out on my website, adamlanesmith.com, and learn your attachment style, the severity of what you're dealing with, and some next steps you can take right now to build very secure attachment. So unresolved conflicts poison your ability to love each other and care about each other and feel safe around each other. Safety and peace is gone at this point. This is when wound number 3 starts happening. Score keeping. Your brains start tracking what you do for them versus what they do for you, or more accurately, what they fail to do for you. You have pluses in your categories, they have all minuses in theirs. Your brain doesn't track what they do, only what they don't. Your brain doesn't track what you don't do, only what you do. The score is inevitably going to skew bad. It seems logical. I should just kind of keep track of how invested we are. But it doesn't actually keep track of how invested you both are. You're just tracking your arbitrary metrics, and then it destroys your bonding. Okay, this is really bad. Everything becomes transactional. Scorekeeping creates selective blindness where you become neurologically unable to notice your partner's positive contributions at all while becoming hyper aware of their failures and shortcomings. I'll give you 2 examples. One, is the angry husband who works extensive overtime and says, you just lounge around at home all day. You don't even work. You're just having fun. You're relaxing. I'm working like a dog. And the moment I come in the door, all you do is bark, bark, bark at me. I do everything for you, and you never even show me an ounce of kindness. Let's take the opposite. The wife who feels like her husband is constantly gone all the time, working, and never shows any emotional intimacy whatsoever, as she is maintaining the entire household, the family, the emotional connections, pursuing him to do all the relationship maintenance. I am always upkeeping our relationship. I'm tracking everybody's life. I'm exhausted from the mental load. You just go to work, and then you come home and act like king of the house, like we're all supposed to serve you. You do very little for us. Nothing. Both sides. Maybe you heard yourself in that one. This is how both sides begin scorekeeping and feeling like the victim where the other person is the villain. That's cortisol association, by the way. Scorekeeping turns you into the victim and the other person into the villain who's attacking you. Now you're the hero of the story who gets to rise up and push back against them. That's filing for divorce, by the way. You lose the ability to see any kindness in your partner, any of their efforts, any of their contributions. Who was right in that scenario that you just saw? Was it the husband working overtime to provide for the family? Was it the wife maintaining the mental load and the connections in the family? Who was the good one who contributed everything, 100%? Who contributed 0? Turns out they're both contributing and caring for each other, and they're both sad, and they're both lonely. That's probably the majority of couples I see come in, by the way. Now, the next step, wound number 4, is emotional withdrawal. And I don't mean just you step away or you're tired, whatever it is. You start pulling away emotionally, which creates injury in your partner's nervous system. It registers as rejection trauma. A withdrawal creates a cycle. Your partner's pursuit of connection feels suffocating, so you withdraw. This withdrawal creates a cycle. Your partner's pursuit of connection feels suffocating while you're burned out, so you withdraw even more, which triggers even more desperate pursuit behaviors that justify your continued withdrawal. And then when they stop pursuing, you start chasing and they withdraw, and you start chasing more and they withdraw. Usually my couples come in like this. One tries to connect, gets burned, pulls back. The other says, oh no, they were trying to connect. So they try to connect, and then they get burned and say, well, screw that, I'm not trying. And they say, oh no, you were trying to connect. And they go back and forth like this, trying to connect and always feeling like they're the one that's doing all the work. Most couples, each one feels like they're the one doing all the work. Very few times do I ever have a couple come in and say, yeah, you do all the work. And it's not, I do everything, and actually mean it usually either, by the way. You can't really do everything in a relationship. All those absolutes like that, that's just you with the cortisol association hating your partner or them hating you. Now, as you go through this withdrawal, that hidden damage, your partner's attachment system, if you have attachment issues, usually goes into panic mode, creates desperation, angry behaviors, wounding. Why do you keep rejecting or abandoning me? I tried to engage in physical intimacy with you tonight and you slapped my hand away. I will never initiate sex again. I tried to hold your hand and you pulled away. I will never try to hold your hand again. Right? It's this. Connect, no, connect, no, connect, no, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's that back and forth over and over and over. So you both feel rejected, you both feel unloved, and you both feel frustrated and alone. Now, wound number 5 is similar, but it's kind of exhaustion. Neglected connection, repeatedly shutting down attempts to connect, like we just talked about, because you're tired, you're run down. You're busy. When both of your nervous systems are feeling hurt, you begin to feel fatigue and exhaustion. Then you reject even more than you were doing before. You stop even trying, both of you. Each rejection feels like micro traumas that accumulate over time until both of you stop trying completely. Now that it's not anyone trying, it's people backed off totally. This is not just a loss of that oxytocin bonding hormone that we otherwise would buffer you against some of the issues on this list. It's pain from feeling unwanted, unloved, emotionally starved. The damage here is that your brain learns reaching out at all equals pain. So both of you completely stop reaching at all. And that's the death of intimacy right there. Now, this leads very quickly into wound number 6 as the cortisol association begins to flood. Disguised disrespect, barely disguised. This goes back to the beginning of this video. Eye rolling, sarcasm, passive-aggressive comments, mocking disguised as humor. I have some couples that come in and they report, Adam, we watched your videos on marriage and love, and when it got to the part about the spouse giving them intimacy and safety, they looked at me and said, yeah, that would be nice, right? Even trying to get better causes these wounds. It appears somewhat harmless and sometimes laughing it off, but it destroys the respect and safety pathways in the brain. This creates what researchers call contempt. It's the strongest predictor of divorce. Number one, according to the Gottman studies. Contempt, you are beneath me. You are not even human anymore. I don't owe you dignity or kindness because you're not worth it. Contempt is the number one strongest predictor of divorce. One of the most powerful wounds is this one right here. It sets you up for tremendous pain, anger, rage. It activates fight mode. Even in peaceful partners. It's you walking along and someone comes up and stabs you in the side with a knife for no reason. The hidden damage, your brain starts seeing your partner as an active, aggressive predator beneath you, but they think they're better than you. And you now have to beware of living with a dangerous predator in your home who will come and find ways to hurt you without warning. They're not just hurting you during arguments. They're hurting you for fun whenever they find you. Basically bullying. And if you're the one doing this in your marriage, you are bullying your partner the same way, and they're going to treat you that way. I know that a lot of the people watching this show right now have had attachment issues for their entire life. That's why I want to invite every single one of you to check out my attachment repair program. It just might be the jump that you need to go from insecurely attached and lonely and frustrated to fully secure, connected, and bonded in a great relationship like nothing you've ever felt before. Check out my website, adamlanesmith.com, for the attachment repair program. Now, this last wound, it's wound number 7, and I hesitated even to put it on this list because it's so brutal and divisive. It's horrible. Performative intimacy. And I don't mean faking it in the bedroom. I mean going out and acting like everything's great in public. You talk to your friends. Oh, yeah, everything's great. We're going on trips. Oh, yeah, we love each other. It's wonderful. Maybe even go to couples therapy. And you're like, no, it's great. I want to do everything. I'm so ready and so committed. While you have zero real emotional closeness privately. It creates a massive cognitive dissonance. It confuses your bonding systems, right? Well, he said he wants to connect with me and build bonding in couples therapy. But then when he got home, all he did was scream at me and tell me how dare I bring up problems in couples therapy. It makes the partner look like a deceiver and a liar if they ever go to open up to anybody, which is somewhat part of the problem and part of the reason doing this. It creates questioning about their honesty and things they've said. This is where people begin to feel gaslighted. Gaslight is a term I use very carefully. It means they are intentionally misleading you to confuse you so that you can't actually act back against their aggressive behaviors while convincing you that they have your best interests at heart. So they are lying to you on purpose to get you to lower your guard so that they can hurt you intentionally. That's gaslighting. The hidden damage here, your brain cannot form secure attachment because intimacy feels fake. And you don't trust them to be truthful. They are now a liar in your eyes and you see them lying and you never want to trust them again. The biggest damage here is when the person, and I have plenty of these couples, the person actually says, oh my gosh, I finally get it. I really want to change. And their partner goes, yeah, I've heard this one a lot. I've heard this one for the last 20 years. I'm not interested anymore. And they go, no, I mean it this time. I feel it. I really get it. And I look at them and I'm like, wow, this person gets it. And I look at their partner and the partner's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. Thank you, but no, thank you. And even now that it could be saved, that damage is too extensive because they've damaged their ability to ever trust again. Now, do you really want to know the worst reason why this is terrifying? Once these wounds, especially this last one, creates enough neurological damage, your brain will resist the relationship repair process even when you try to fix things. In fact, the damage can be so severe that even if you both agree sincerely to give it your best shot, your cortisol association can sabotage your best efforts as a couple and you just keep fighting. Now, the neurological damage that I'm describing here compounds every single day that you leave it untreated. Each wound makes your brain more convinced that your partner's a threat and more resistant to bonding attempts with them. The exact repair process that I teach in my How to Build a Secure Marriage video course can reverse even severe neurological damage, though, in couples. Couples who save their marriages are the ones who understand they're dealing with that brain trauma, not relationship problems. So what I'm sharing next about stopping that damage is just a preview of the complete repair system. Don't stop now. Make sure you click the link in the description below, because that course could be the difference between saving your marriage and losing it forever. And when I say brain trauma, I don't necessarily mean blunt force brain trauma, but the neurological pathways, the neurological roads in your brain that map partner to threat. That's that trauma response to your partner forming in your brain right now. Now, you've watched this far. Adam, you're asking, what the heck do I do about this? We're going to go through the repair process that most couples skip, okay? And I'm going to be very clear. You can't just start being nicer or communicating better or going on dates or buying nice lingerie when there's neurological damage. You have to actively repair the threat associations that your brain has built up around each other. This is going to require both partners to acknowledge the specific wounds that you've created without turning it into a blame session. And then committing to unified repair work that proves safety to both nervous systems. Now, most couples fail because they try surface level fixes like date nights and love languages while their brains are still categorizing each other as enemies. That's what we need to fix. So we must address the neurology first. Your nervous system, if we don't, is going to sabotage every attempt at connection until you prove to your brain that your partner is safe rather than threatening. And that requires consistent, predictable, positive interactions over time. Unfortunately, traditional couples therapy usually fails. 50% failure rate is what the research seems to indicate, because it focuses on changing behaviors without addressing the underlying neural pathways that drive those behaviors or resolving the cortisol association. So you end up fighting against your own biology as you're desperately trying to connect with each other. That's why a lot of couples end up worse after couples therapy. The breakthrough, though, comes when you understand that you're essentially retraining two brains to see each other as allies instead of as threats, which requires very specific reprogramming protocols that work with your neurobiology rather than against it. Now, when I have couples come into my coaching practice that want to work with me, I follow some very specific steps. I'm going to lay them out for you right now. Okay. Step one of resolving this is naming each wound honestly, but without attack language. Hey, we've been invalidating each other for a long time, and it's creating distance between us. Or even better, invalidation in our marriage has really created a lot of wounds, and we need to resolve that together. Rather than, you always dismiss my feelings. The situation is the issue. The partner's not the issue. If you want to destroy your marriage, make your partner the problem. See how that works for you, okay? They are the problem, Adam. Cool. Let's see how that works for you. But if you want to resolve this, the invalidation is the problem. The situation is the problem. The situation is the issue. The invalidation in our marriage is creating distance between us, and we need to resolve that as a couple. Not, you always dismiss my feelings. This is crucial, okay? You have to name the wounds. I usually have couples list out 3 top areas that are hurting them the most. 3 top friction points. The invalidation, the eye rolling, the disrespect, whatever it might be. List out your 3. Now you put them together. You've got 6 key areas to start fixing. Now, step 2 is to completely eliminate those behaviors that create the cortisol associations. No more sarcasm. No more unresolved conflicts, no more emotional withdrawal during difficult conversations. I tell my couples, if you want to ruin your marriage and have a $1 million loss from your marriage just going down the toilet, losing your home, your family, your kids, cool. Keep being passive aggressive. If you don't want that to happen, you must stop passive aggressive comments today, right now. So which one do you want? Do you want the divorce and the financial loss and hurting your children? Or do you want to maybe control those passive aggressive behaviors? Which one do you like? It's your choice. Most people tend to opt to stop passive aggressive behaviors at that point. And I'm only that harsh on couples when I absolutely have to be. And some people need it, quite frankly, to be honest with you. But as we get rid of those unresolved conflicts and stop the bleed, all of a sudden the cortisol associations at least pause and they can begin to diminish. Now, what's amazing is step 3, flooding your relationship with positive bonding experiences that prove safety to both of your nervous systems, prioritizing first resolving the cortisol, but magically, as you resolve the cortisol as a team, your brain releases a bonding hormone called vasopressin, which says, you're not my enemy, you're my ally. I was hurting and you helped me. I was suffering and you stood beside me. You solved it with me. We are allies. Now, this bonding hormone makes you actually want to be monogamous, connected, and loving. And that releases your oxytocin receptors to open up again, instead of being shut with cortisol, to open up. Now you want to feel belonging, affection, warmth, intimacy. And then you can begin date nights and play and fun and sharing and laughing because you have safety. This means now prioritizing connection rituals that trigger oxytocin and rebuild your love and trust on a neurological level. Now, you must follow this exact pathway. Name the issue, resolve the issue, build vasopressin, build oxytocin. It has to go in that order, okay? Most couples therapy gets stuck at complaining about the problems and blaming each other. You make me feel X. No, use I statements. I feel like I hate you, right? Doesn't really seem to go anywhere. It's just rehashing miseries. Okay. You hate each other. Go on a date tonight, right? Dates, oxytocin. No, fix the cortisol association. Name the circumstance and the situation. Unite against it. Fix it. Vasopressin bonding, oxytocin bonding. That's the order. Now, once you understand that these marriage problems are actually neurological problems and injuries disguised as relationship issues, everything changes. You stop trying to fix the symptoms and you start repairing the neurological pathways that are driving your problems. And that's where your marriage really begins healing and becoming loving and intimate again. Now, I'll be really clear, more clear than I possibly can be, right? This is going to be it. The distance you're feeling isn't because you've fallen out of love or because you're incompatible. It's because your brains have been trained through repeated wounds to protect you from each other instead of bonding with each other. And now they're blocked from bonding. This isn't your fault, but now that you understand what's really happening, it is your responsibility to fix your side of it. The good news is that neurological damage like this can be completely reversed when both people understand the repair process, when they commit to doing the work consistently as a team. Your marriage isn't doomed because you have these wounds. Every couple has wounds at some point. The difference between marriages that thrive and marriages that die is whether the couples understand they're dealing with this trauma cycle and then take specific steps together to heal it. That's the difference. Now, what I've shared today about hidden neurological damage is critical, but knowing the wounds is only half of that battle. The real question is, can your marriage be saved, or is it too late? I've created a system that shows you exactly how to repair neurological damage together as a couple and rebuild the secure attachment your marriage desperately needs. My How to Build a Secure Marriage video course contains the specific repair protocols that I use with couples whose marriages were already declared dead by multiple other couples therapists, and 99.8% of those couples went on to completely transform their relationships. It's the exact neurobiological repair process that saves marriages even when everything else has failed. Now, if your marriage is worth fighting for, and I believe that pretty much every marriage is worth fighting for, there's a link in the description below for that course. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, because understanding these hidden attachment wounds is just the beginning of what you need to know. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, ring the little bell so you get notifications. Get your copy of the marriage course. You can repair your marriage today.
Okay, we did. We unmuted. Okay. Okay,
We're
back
back.
again.
There's a lot detailed there. it's kind of sobering to see that getting into a situation where we're thinking of nothing but positive things, going to end up doing damage, and not planning. I'm sure no one plans on doing damage. I hope no one plans on doing damage, but yet because of behavior that actually is physically abusive, physically, words and behavior that becomes mentally damaging. Couples get into a very dangerous situation, and he says there's no falling out of love. Really, what's happening? People are actively mishandling the power that they have, and as soon as you realize that, you can do something about it. And boy, he's lends a lot of understanding, awful lot of understanding to the behavior that you can have.
Yeah, it's interesting. All of this happens in the brain. So to fix it, you have to fix basically what we tell our brain. The responses. It's not the person. It becomes the person
Yeah,
over time,
yeah,
but it's all the wounds that we inflict on each other. So there's a way to resolve it, but like he said, you've got to, name the invalidation. That's a biggie. People don't validate each other.
mm-hmm.
One person says something, the other person says, no, that's not true. So right away, you're shutting off the person.
Yeah. See, I don't pretend to be an expert with this, and you don't either.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, there's more information that he presented that is going to help anybody,
Mm-hmm.
anyone, to be more aware and more sensitive to the things that they're doing together and saying together, rather than blindly going into situations and damaging things. It's like if you were to buy or have a home and you don't understand everything in it, but it seems pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you start doing things that end up being destructive without even realizing it. And it's not working out very well either because you're mishandling things because you really don't know the underlying workings of something. But you're trying, you're trying. And the more you try, the more frustrating and distressed and damaging things become. We weren't trained. Somehow, all of us, or many of us, missed that kind of training and understanding that we could have had. Oh, well, see, my parents, well, I see, my parents should have taught me. Well, yeah, my parents should have taught me. Someone should have taught my parents.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at the point now where, fortunately, this deeper information is coming out. And I'm very thankful
Me
for that.
too. Me too.
And it's not the time to feel regret. And I do regret that we didn't have deeper information sooner and that we didn't
Same
have
here.
the support
Right.
and taking things being taken seriously. They really weren't taken seriously.
Yeah.
No things. The approach toward marriage was, well, they love each other. It'll work out. That's
Not without the
no,
right.
no.
Not without the right
No,
behaviors
that's
and
right.
tools. And I was thinking too in the Watchtower, you know, because the title talks about domination.
Yeah.
That's a very male-oriented organization. You know, the starting at the top with the governing body, the CEOs, the elders, the ministerial servants, they're all males. So women right away are less, and they don't have a voice. And so there's many, many problems that result
Yeah.
because of that. And
Yeah.
not that the woman has to be, you know, head over the man or man over the wife. It's just crazy the way they always said, you know, the man is the head of the house, the wife is in subjection.
And so where's the damage come in with that?
Because the abuse can take place. If a man is abusive, then he can say, well, it's my house. I can do whatever I want to. I can treat my wife or my children however I want to. And they're given a pass. And it comes with physical abuse, sexual abuse, anything.
Well, at least in the Bible, I mean, if you were to look at all the direction in the Bible, there is it clarifies that it's not supposed to be abusive, it's supposed to be
Right.
loving. That doesn't come through, though.
No.
It just doesn't. See, it doesn't come through because the roles are so out of balance. In other words, there's domination by the male, submission. See, all of a sudden you've got this difference. Literally, sub is below, domination, literally. Domination means like God. So for someone to dominate over you, dominate is God.
Yeah.
That means I'm God over you. Oh, and you're beneath me. Wow. Where do you go with that? I mean, number one, the person isn't God. They don't have those powers. And number two, is the person below? Is that other person, in this case the woman, are they really below you? You know, it's a good question. Are they really below you? Or is that the role that they were placed in? See, it's a troublesome role. The
Yeah.
domination and submission. Very troublesome role. In one of the other videos that he put out, he speaks about the more beneficial, productive roles for men, women, marriage, is that of two executives. But yet each with, they're both but different executives with abilities, powers, and authority for a unifying objective. They're both there to make sure that something gets taken care of together. There's no domination. There's no subjection. There's no submission. There's so many other higher order things. Well, see, that's not what Watchtower taught people. Watchtower taught people something that would actually cause people to mishandle each other and put themselves in a position of being abused. You know, if it's a two-way street. The dominator says, I will dominate. The one who submits says, anything that comes to me, I'll take. Because I'm down here and if it falls, it's on me. If it comes, because this is my position. See, those are damaging, troublesome positions. They injure people mentally, emotionally, and they have. And they are right now. There's marriages right now where that's happening. And until that's changed, until you accept a new role for husband and wife, not the dominant, submissive roles, that's proven. It's proven to be damaging. it's proven to hurt people. Just like all the other roles and situations in Watchtower, that's caused
Yeah.
pain and suffering. I mean, let's face it, the same organization that hides and supports pedophiles. It's not hard to understand that they also present and support arrangements and role models and roles that where people would injure and hurt each other. It's not hard to imagine this. Fact is, we've watched it happen, and unfortunately, we're still watching it happen. So this is an alternative. There are alternatives, and the information is out there.
Yeah. I like what he said at the end. He said, commit as a team.
Yeah.
You know, if you're on a team and you're working with each other and you want to see success, you're not going to belittle the other person. You're not going to roll your eyes when they say something, or you're not going to invalidate what they say. You're going to work as a team. You're going to say, okay, what can we do so that we can get this to work, whatever it is.
See, you're talking about a job description.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when
Yep.
you go to apply for a job, and someone, the employer offers you a position, oh, great, I'm going to have a job, I'm going to get paid. Well, you're very wise to check out the job description. In other words, what am I supposed to do? How am I expected to do it? What authority do I have? What constraints are over me? What penalties are there? What supports are there? You need to know those things. Well, the same thing in a marriage. You're going to want to know from each other and with each other your limits and what you're doing and what you both have to achieve.
So we have Matthew with
Hello,
us,
Matthew.
and we also have a pasta dude, also known as villages. 9 villages.
9 villages.
9. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing all? Hey, Matt, Joe, Fran.
Hello.
Pasta dude.
Yeah, I had to call in because I thought to myself, I've been married for 52 years, almost 53. What do I know?
Guy knows something.
You got
Yeah.
us beat.
But I don't know it at the depth of the video. There's always more to learn. And one thing about being in a marriage, if you want it to last, you better pay attention. You better really pay attention. And what's amazing is these abnormal lifestyles in Warwick are you may have been subjected to for what do they know? I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was Barbara Anderson who said that the guy who used to write all the family articles wasn't even married.
Yeah.
He wasn't even married, let alone kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
unbelievable.
the ones in writing department that I knew were all heavily medicated.
Yeah, there's another one.
When I say medicated, I mean on anxiety medication and antidepressants and the real heavy stuff. And yet
I believe it.
Yeah, and those were the ones that were producing the so-called spiritual food for the world. I mean, they were even interviewed on the convention a year ago. Somebody challenged me and said, "Oh, who was interviewed?" And I managed to get the video before it got pulled down, just to because it was a classic thing. Because they were talking about their disobedient body, as if with a sense of pride, because the chemicals that they were taking, because they couldn't reconcile the information because of the dissonance, and they were aware of it. The option that the organization was giving them was the drugs to counter that, but they would wear it as a badge of honor and say that that was the provision for their disobedient mind or their disobedient soul.
Wow.
Sorry if that
Oh
sounds
man.
bleak, but that's just the truth of what.
Wow.
So then if there's one thing about Scientology, and that's a one bizarre operation, but they go hard about psychiatric drugs, and they are totally correct. So,
Wow.
so everything has some value.
It's
But
interesting that you say that, because one of the things that attracted me, excuse me, one of the things that attracted me in the Zimbabwean branch was they didn't promote drugs. They didn't. There was a holistic thing going on, but it was an irregularity. It was an anomaly. That branch was unusual because of world sanctions, and in a way, it was able to develop in its own little small branch, independent of the rest. But when the organization sent in their own missionaries and replacements and things like that, then it took time. But I realized that the thing that I thought was the healing way actually wasn't how the main headquarters operated. It had just snuck under the radar. But at least it gave me an opportunity to know what proper spirituality was all about.
Interesting. Can we say hi to Annie?
Hello, Annie. How you doing?
Hi, Annie.
Hello,
Good
Annie.
evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I found that video quite informative, talking about the neurological damage that's actually done. And that's probably, excuse me, something that starts being done to us as a child even. And then if we're in a group, a high control group like Watchtower, now you have another layer. And then you get married and you're already coming in to the marriage with neurological damage because of the way you've been treated and rather put down, controlled. And now you're trying to make a success of something. And like Fran said, that a lot of times when couples leave, they realize they don't have anything in common anymore. The only thing they had in common was the organization. And now that's gone. So I would imagine, I'm no authority, but I would imagine that witnesses might bring to the same man some challenges that most marriages might not have.
Oh, yeah.
But his advice was certainly good, as far as I could see. But yeah, I think that witnesses might have some unique issues to overcome.
Oh, indeed. I know early in my wake up process, Sister Apostle Dude said, "What if you weren't a Jehovah's Witness, I would have never married you." And she was right. That's absolutely true. I know her, But then it took me a while because she's an interesting character because I was feeding her very drip, drip, drip. This is because I got the picture of how traumatic it was because I felt the trauma of waking up. But anyway, a couple of years later, we're one thing about us is we spend time, we talk about everything and not always easily. But in any case, I got to the point where I said, well, now let's think about it. Now, if you weren't a Jehovah's Witness at that time, I wouldn't have married you. I wouldn't have even considered you, right? So we have to move, we haven't any problem. It's just something that came up in the dialogue. But that we felt that pressure leaving, and you can't leave at the same pace. If you hang together, it's even difficult. I felt that, I did tell her one time, I said, if you feel like you have to leave me, I think I understand. But she didn't. So she's precious.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to say that everything that, you'd think for however many thousands of years people have been functioning together, you'd think we would have something down pat. But clearly, we don't. But it's been a grand experiment, to say the least. And now, at very least, we're at the point where we have almost universal observation of it. Everybody has the opportunity to analyze what we've all been through, the effects of it, and now also with the alternative and the options, so as to do something beneficial. We're at such a wonderful point. Uh, Forget the regret. There are a lot of regrets. But we're also at the point, too, where we have tremendous insight and observations of what we've been through and how to go forward.
And we have it in all directions, Joe. What I'm going to say is you have available to you vast amounts of information as to what is the problem.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can go from there and look at, what this video you just shared was, that's a high degree of applying what's really involved in relationships. Now, it's a very hot thread on the internet, particularly YouTube, is the way men and women are relating to each other now. There's a thing called MGTOW, men, MGTOW, men going their own way. They can't deal with these women who think, and then of course, women have always had their grievances with men, and they're right, they're correct about a lot of stuff. So both genders, can benefit greatly by understanding what is there to be had, which is a healthy relationship. You don't have to be miserable. You could look at it and understand it.
Or on the other hand, like you said, or the choice of not having a relationship.
That might be necessary.
In other words, because it previously it was where, as a male and a female grew to a certain age in the community, what were they expected?
To get married.
Get married.
Yeah.
Don't you think you should think about getting married? You're blah, blah, blah. Why? Why should I think about it? Well, I mean, in all practical purposes, unless people marry and have children, the population will dwindle to nothing. so there is a need. There is a physical need to maintain population because people die. And,
yes, they do.
There needs to be replacements. So, but on the other hand, you can't be left without alternatives, because if you're left without alternatives and you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in, that's when the damage and the destruction comes in. I didn't want to be here. I didn't really want to get married. Or I did this because such and such. Or I got married because such and such. Or, we go forward now with so much more insight as to who we are, how we work mentally and physically, and the effects of how we interact together, male, female, or whatever, male, however we interact together, female, group. We have so much information available to us. So as traumatic as the past has been, the insight is dramatic for the opportunities to change and to improve. It really is. I think there's such a dichotomy there. We come from so much damage, headed toward so much growth and positive things. It has to be. It has to be acknowledged. It has to be a goal. It has to be a goal.
I just wanted to comment about one of the comments. Jay made. And Jay and his wife, she is a PME. She's also a pioneer. And they've been married 29 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're doing something right, Jay. Don't get down on yourself. He said it's not easy being married to a JW pioneer. And I'm sure it's not because you're not on the same page. But the key, I liked what Pasta Dude said, is spending time together as a couple, even if, one's a believer and one's not a believer. Do things together that you enjoy, and the marriage will improve. It'll help.
Here's the other side, the way to look at it too. The PME wife has a difficulty in being with a non-JW supportive husband. It's a double bind situation for each other. You're both in a situation where if you actively communicate to each other, you're going to come up with a solution together. You are both going to come up with a solution. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it because you're in a conflict situation at this point. Even though there's peace, the conflict is that you're out for different purposes. And can that last forever? I don't know. It could, I suppose. Will it? Don't know. But the more openness and the more sharing of your both feelings, you're going to look at each other and you're both going to you're going to come up with a solution. You can't help it. You can't help it because it's an unstable situation.
If anyone
I've got a
wants
question,
If you
Joe
happen to-
and Fran.
Matthew,
Sorry, can I give way to Annie there? Sorry, Annie.
Annie still
No, go
here?
ahead. Yeah.
My question is this, because I think our community, when I say our community, our group here, is quite aware that love grows in the soil of truth, even if it's a very unpleasant, very difficult truth.
Mm-hmm.
But the love is always the motivator. The love is the motivator and the truth is the motivator. But when the mind is dissonant on the other side, now you're having to bridge and you're having to compensate for that. So an act of love or an act of truth now has the opposite polarity. So every effort that is put in place, it's not trusted. And because it's going, well, what truth is the foundation here? If you're saying the sky is red, must I agree that it's red if I know it's blue? It's a very, very difficult thing to have to bridge or to have to, again, do the mental gymnastics to try and say, right, I'm struggling to find the truth foundation here so that I can equalize it, because I know that the formula is truth, but it's been hijacked. And I don't know. I don't always have an answer for that. And I said in the comments today, I said, I have a confession, because I was in that situation this very, very week. And I found myself having to withdraw, find a private place. And where my voice was suppressed, I let out a shout, because I'm going, I don't know what to do. Other than if I stay in that situation, it's just going to be toxic. I have to pull out and find an escape route and still say, well, I don't give up. I still want to fight for this truth.
Yeah.
One thing, Matthew, one thing I could add there was no healthy marriage can avoid difficult conversations. So the nature, you got to be there. You got to be at the place where you can talk about things you're not comfortable talking with each other about.
Present.
Fearlessly. And the idea is when there's enough trust in your history, then it reduces all the fear about whatever the subject is. So
See,
We
and Matthew, you brought up truth, and Pasta Dude, you're talking about speaking your truth, which frankly is really, in my estimation, it's the only truth. It's the truth that we live, project, and hopefully connect with the other person's truth. Otherwise, you're two people living a lie. And that's a painful process after a while. People talk about seeking the truth, where at the same time they're not living truth within themselves and with the other person. And
so the Watchtower always drops issues and says, "Be sure to respect each other's conscience," and they don't mean a word of it.
no,
They
they
don't mean
don't.
anything about that. But that
No.
is
Oh
that
no.
you
Oh
got
no.
to do that in these tedious marriage things. You got to respect the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Joe,
thinking that there
I
are.
didn't. I've done it to Annie again. Sorry, Annie.
Can I go this time?
Go, Andy.
Please.
Fire,
Okay.
Annie.
So, so my thought was that there are a lot of mixed marriages that are not witnesses that are successful. Of course, they don't have the stress that
Right.
Watchtower puts on people.
Right.
But I think even if you are a couple who are both witnesses and one of them leaves, it can still work, as we know it has. If you married each other for the person that you are and not by chance just because of what you were doing for the organization. Because I remember a sister saying that when her husband left, someone was asking about, did she think she was going to divorce him? And she said, why would I do that? I married the man. I married him because of the kind of man that he was. So if you happen to have been fortunate enough to have married under those circumstances, you probably can make it work. But as we know, that's oftentimes not what brings people together. But
Right. Right.
Well, thank you, Annie, and I'm glad you got your word in.
Yeah.
thank you.
I hope, if nothing else, it gives people the chance, both young and old, both, especially young ones, to ask themselves, what is this marriage all? What is marriage all about, and how personally do I fit into it? Not how do they want me to fit into it, not how can I fit into it, not how should I fit into it. It's how do I personally want to fit into it. Because otherwise, if you don't present your truthfulness, you're going to present yourself as a liar to another person. A role model, a role filler. You're going to be fulfilling a role to that other person, but not fulfilling your truthful self. How long can you do that? How long will that last? In many cases, that just simply does not last very long.
Joe, I want to believe we're on the right path here. I can't think of anything else. I go to psychologists, leading psychologists, best on the planet. And I say to them, tell me, what is your methodology? It's to bring out truth, right? It's to bring out a communication so truth comes out, and that's how you reconcile. And you probably sit there just being a presence. Am I right? Have I got this right? And they tell me, yeah, that's more or less it in the simple terms. And I look at what comes through on comments. I look at the discussions. I look at the themes that you and Fran choose, and I see the same thing over and over again. And I go, look, it might not be absorbed well, and we've got persons that are trapped in dreadful psychology, dreadful dissonance.
Yeah.
But I want to believe that what is being sown here with truth and in our own lives, in our own power, is making that difference. It might not happen immediately, but it'll happen for generations, or it'll happen for future, or there will be the surprise.
Yeah, no, I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Well, it's like a system that's breaking down. It's like a house or a business that it's functioning, but it's messy, it's troublesome, it's chaotic. Um, but nothing's really being done to change it. It's being maintained in its chaos. And people figure, things are going along. Um, as soon as it's acknowledged that we have problems here, we have big, big problems here. At that point, at least two things happen. One is, look, don't disrupt things. Things have been working. They're, it's too large to make any changes. It'll be too disruptive. And on the other hand, if you don't make changes, it'll be totally destructive. You'll just go into nothingness. You'll turn your back one day and realize, how did things fall apart? And so the minute that the decision is made that we've got to make some changes, the minute that happens, it, 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 it's probably an overwhelming thought because there are those that realize how much has to change. But yet, it's the only alternative. It's the only alternative. And once a person acknowledges that that's what we have to do, if we don't do it, it's going to be, things will just totally drift into nothingness. And so the sooner we get at it, the better. We're at that point because there's no excuse now, because we have access to so much good information, so much good interaction with others who are willing to enter into the solutions. There's people willing out there. The other person around you, they're not? Okay, well, there are others that are. And they're accessible now, especially now, because we have such good communication around the world at this point. We're at that point where we can learn so much and we can make such changes. You'd have to want to, though.
I just noticed there's a note here for Marissa. If you connect your mic, then Shauna can add you on stage. Apparently, you're trying to get on.
Oh, yeah.
But you just have to connect your mic, and then you can come on. That goes for anybody. If anyone else wants to come on, we've got a half hour left.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hello, Marissa.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Nice to hear you.
It's nice to hear you guys too. I wanted to share something in response to what Matthew said about truth and how, unfortunately, Watchtower encourages lies, delusions to ourselves and to the people around us. And that essentially is what causes dissonance. And I mean, I remember doing a lot of research once about lies, and it actually changes your brain chemistry. So that's why it's so painful. And it's just a process that people have to come to on their own. And that's why it's so important with PMEs and anybody that's in a cult that we respect them and that we shower them with love, because then they feel safe to start dealing with the lies that they tell themselves. Does that make the pain?
Yeah.
It's sort of a soft place for them to land, especially in a marriage. And it's really, really hard when you're married to someone and I think he mentioned, I mean, there's a simple truth and you have to pretend like that's not true. It's very painful when you're not deluded. You know something's a lie.
Marissa, you caused me to think that there's the saying, you can't handle the truth. I mean, it's such a popular saying that was popularized in a movie. You can't, and it was forcefully directed towards someone. And I truly believe that that's a very true statement. There's a look and a reaction of someone who's behaving truthfully. They're accepting. They're shouldering something. They're willing to do it. They're looking for good. They're actually they're actually stronger. They actually take on strength as they do it, because they couldn't do it without strength. They receive strength from doing it, as opposed to when certain others who can't handle the truth,
Right.
it's injuring them.
Yep.
It's hurting them.
Yep. It really does.
That has to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I mean, it's been studied, and it is really bad for us to lie to ourselves and to others. It's bad for our mental health. It really does change your brain chemistry, and it alters the way that you view the world, and it does make you weaker, you know. And those of us that know truth, you know, we're talking about the organization, but even in a marriage, kindness and love is really, I mean, and patience, right? And that takes strength. You know, Kevin's sister is, I believe that the more indoctrinated you are, from what I've observed, the more immersed in the cult that you are, I think eventually you just become mentally ill.
Oh,
And
I totally agree.
I mean, I've seen it in Kevin's family, and I mean, I used to say all the time, people, everyone's nuts. And my girlfriend used to say, you think everyone's nuts? I'm like, they are nuts. And it wasn't until I left the organization that I realized it's because the cult's making them nuts.
That's right.
So true.
Yeah.
They
So
literally are like unwell, which is why people feel so much better when they leave, and then the work begins of healing to sort of peel back all the layers of the lies, you know?
Marissa, I mean, some do, but this is a reach. This is a stretch, and maybe it characterizes this. If some one of us were to find out that a loved one is dead, they're gone, a tragic accident, they instantly find out.
Yeah.
The first word out of their mouth is what?
No. Can't believe it.
I can't accept that.
You're in denial.
No, absolutely not. No, can't accept that. And then the next thing is heartbreak. They're heartbroken. And that's the difference between someone who acknowledges the truth and is ready to and grow strong from it, as opposed to the person that, if you were to tell them the truth about the organization, they're going to be heartbroken.
Yeah.
It's going to be damaging. And that's what we're left with now. We're left with that now.
That's the problem with, oh, sorry.
Hi, Marissa, just, can we just say hello to Gail?
Hi, Gail.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Gail.
Gail. Hello, Gail.
Hi, Matthew. I just want to say a quote from Marilyn Monroe, and I love this quote because I agree with it 100%. Marilyn Monroe says, I'd rather be miserable and alone than be with somebody and be miserable. And how true are those words? Did I cut you off, Marissa?
I was just going to say something real quick, but I'm glad that you.
No,
said
go
that,
ahead.
because I love that too. I was just going to say that what Joe was describing were the stages of grief, the denial and then the anger. But that what the Watchtower does is it doesn't allow us to grieve. And so we never learn what's natural to the vast majority of to healthy emotional wellness, which is to grieve, to allow ourselves to deny and to get angry and bargain and then get sad and then finally to accept it, because we're going to see each other in paradise. So we don't grieve as the nations do. And I can't tell you how many memorials I went to where I was the only one crying, and I'd look around, and that was part of my awakening too. It was this frustration with this stoicism where there was no, and that's so it's so sad. It's so sad to me. And that halts your growth emotionally when you can't grieve. And if you can't grieve, you can't have truth, because you're denying your pain, your own pain. And then you get sick. How many of us know people who have died of cancer, young, and they're poor? I mean, I had so many friends. I've had 3 friends die under 60 of cancer, like close friends. And I know about 40 of them in our congregation that have died over the years, over the last 10 years.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of people die young in that organization.
They do.
It's just sad.
Yeah, it is.
And Gail?
Yes.
To your saying about Marilyn Monroe, my friend used to say, better to be alone than to want to be alone.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I gave a course on marriage when I was I worked in a program with all young women from the age of 14 to 18, and you're gonna love this one. I actually used the Young People Ask book as a guide to some of the tips. But I got married when I was 18, and I met him when he came home from Vietnam. He was 6 years older than me. It didn't work out because he had terrible post-traumatic stress, and he was a terrible alcoholic. And I was young, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. But today, I feel I wish I waited till I was in my 30s before I got married, because I was young and I really was still a child. Well, anyway, to me, marriage to me is a union, and there's a lot of facets that go into a good marriage. There's a lot of facets that break up a good marriage. And I'll tell you, the 3 major causes of divorces are: number 1, money; number 2, lack of communication; and believe it or not, is fighting over family is number 3. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I've seen in my lifetime with my friends is if they've lost it, because I'm actually going to another wake for another overdose. I'm not kidding you. All the overdoses that are going on with my friends' kids, it's this family, they've lost 5 so far on overdoses. And I graduated from high school with a set of twins. One lost 2 sons. The other one just lost her other son. He's 42 with 3 children. And I think when you lose a sibling, I find a lot of marriages fall apart after they lost a child. I don't know why, but I don't know if they tend to blame each other for losing that child, but I see it all the time. It's very rare to find a couple that stick it out when they lose a child. So there's all kinds of reasons why people just, I firmly believe in a relationship, you should allow the other person to be who they are. And I don't like anyone controlling me or dictating to me. I hated that subservient attitude, because I don't like someone controlling me. And I grew up with the Gestapo Italians, and I would never marry an Italian. No offense, Joe. Never marry Italian.
Okay.
But, I think everybody should, if you're in a relationship, you should be able to be yourself and let them be themselves. And you communicate, and you join each other, and you let each other, be whoever they want to be. And as long as you can, have that camaraderie together.
Gail, I agree with you. I did marry an Italian, and I'm glad I did. But I think what helped our marriage, because we had a very We had a very rough marriage in the beginning and through the Watchtower. But rather than controlling the other person, it's asking the other person, would you mind? Or how do you feel about this? You're not looking for permission. You're just including the other person. And there's where that, working as a team. I mean, that's what I've noticed because I grew up very independent. And it's like, someone's got to wear the pants in the family sort of thing. And it didn't work out, but it does work out when
It
we take
does.
when we take each other into consideration. But we want to say hello to Wild Wall and Dallas
Thank you,
too.
Gail.
Thank you,
Hi,
Gail.
hi, Wild. You're welcome. Hi, Wild. Hi, Dallas.
Hey, Gail. Hey, everybody.
Are you going to talk? Hi.
We're all listening.
We're waiting.
With bated breath.
Which one wants to go first? Everybody needs a chance here.
Go ahead, Dallas. You're
We're
on.
listening to you, Dallas.
I remember a time about Joe and Fran. I thought they were Spanish. Remember that, or Portuguese?
Same thing. It's kind of the same thing.
But another one that's their heritage. That's my friend here. It's John Marciano. I love him. He's one I just love to death.
Oh, you're so sweet, Dallas.
And he makes this family, and I think that having a great relationship is. I've been interested a long time. It's been years and still have an interest, and I've seen different ones made friends and thought, but they gotta remember the main thing is y'all gotta volunteer each other.
Yeah.
Good words, Dallas.
See, you're giving thought to something that people usually don't give thought to. They just give action to it. In other words, someone wants to get married. I've heard it before, too much. Said it's going to be fun. It's going to be. What do you mean it's going to be fun? See, the marriage. A lot of young women view it as a fun activity to do to get married. The marriage.
Right.
This is an
Oh my
18-year-old.
God.
This is an 18-year-old that we heard. We didn't hear her say it, but her father, who's out, he related it. And she's 18, and it's like it's going to be fun. It's going to be, it's like a party, and nothing about marriage or the responsibilities. Nothing. 18. It's so young. Not that they can't work out. Some people that have married young, it has worked out. They've had commitment. But in many cases, the person doesn't even know themselves yet, let alone, another person.
See,
And I think a lot of 18-year-olds nowadays are less mature
Oh my goodness.
than 18-year-olds perhaps used to be because they
Yes.
don't have responsibility. They've never learned responsibility, and they're way too selfish.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And to
I
their
don't know, I wish
credit,
her
it's,
well, but
yeah, it's just the way things are now. Things are different. Parents parent very differently.
That's true. Good comment, Annie. Good comment.
See, all of society, everything's being reset. The financial world's being reset. Governments are being reset. Humans are being reset. The institutions are being reset. Institution of marriage, the institute of churches, religion, it's being reset. I mean, look at so many people leaving religions, leaving Christianity. leaving whatever, waking up to something that they were basically asleep to before.
Mm.
And now at least the very least we can do is with that Adam, I forget his last name, the therapist, they at least studied and observed the effects of our behavior on each other. So at least we can ask ourselves, what results do I want from my activity? Do I want to get into something and destroy my life? Do I want to get into something and destroy someone else's life and regret ever doing that? What was I thinking? Why did I even do this? Or do we want to go into it now with awareness and understanding? And I'm telling you, just on the basis of the neural and brain effect, now we can make better decisions. As to what I want to do. Well, maybe I can't think this way and get married because it's going to have disastrous effects. In other words, if I think I'm going to be happy by going forward being the head of the house and the authority figure, and I'll be the last word, and my wife will be submissive. You better think twice about that, because now we know we've got some tremendous evidence that that's destructive, damaging. You will regret it. You didn't know it before. Before, you were a hero. Man was a hero if he was going to do that, and the woman was the hero if she were to put herself in that position of subjection. They were heroes. They were society's heroes. No longer. They're no longer heroes. The heroes are changing, and in fact, there aren't any heroes anymore, except maybe the ones that are observing the disastrous effects of our bad relationships. Now we can go forward with more knowledge. Just like Marilyn Monroe said, she'd rather be alone rather than wish you were alone, or something like that.
If anybody wanted to do more research on that couple therapists that we had on, his name is Adam Lane Smith. Adam Lane Smith. He puts out some pretty good videos. What I like about it is that he gives some very practical suggestions and helpful. We didn't hear anything from Wild Wall. We didn't know if you just wanted to come on and say hi, but we're here, Wild Wall.
Is my mic working?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't think it was working earlier. Hey, Joe, I got to show you something. I'm going to turn on my camera real quick because my wife will string me up if I do this wrong. But we've had some cold weather down here over the last few nights, and this is what she made me a while ago. It's nice and hot. So I'm going to rub it in on you, Joe.
Brownies.
I don't know if I can.
Oh, boy. Yeah, made some brownies.
Yeah, homemade dark chocolate brownies. They're
Why?
You better enjoy.
They look good. They look good, my friend.
Good right now. My son was to get into them, Dallas.
I bet you they do.
I can smell them from here.
Oh man, they were baking in there while I was listening to you guys. I'm I've got to rub this in on Joe. I was like, this is
well, it made us all happy just seeing that. So thank you for sharing.
Yes. Thank you.
That's for your sweet tooth tonight, guys and girls.
Any nuts in there? Walnuts, pecans, almonds, anything like that?
Well, since I'm kind of like a wild wall, we need some more walnuts in there. That's usually what we sprinkle on them. Either that or sometimes pecans or anything, any type of nuts.
Any kind of nuts.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what she makes this with is coconut oil instead of using like the vegetable oil and stuff.
Good
man,
stuff.
we cook probably 85 to 90% of our stuff in coconut oil, and man, it just flavors it so good.
Oh, yeah, good.
It is good.
All right. What you're basically doing is you're telling us how well coordinated your marriage is.
or how well she's got me trained.
Well, isn't there a saying to a man's heart is his stomach?
Exactly.
How's that go?
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah, that's how that goes. I can tell you a funny story. When I worked doing retail, couple came in, the older couple, and they had just celebrated like their 60th or 65th anniversary.
Wow.
And so I said to her, I said, well, I guess he's a keeper, huh? And she says, yep, just about got him right where I want him.
Just about.
And then another couple came in and they were discussing marriage briefly, and how the young people nowadays, they get married with the idea of, well, we don't like each other, after the end of a year we'll just get divorced. She said, well, the time I got married, we never thought about divorce. Homicide, yes, but never divorce.
That's so true.
I always remember, and for some reason it strikes chord with me, on a cup, some kind of a coffee cup, it showed a happy little dog pulling a young guy, a little boy in his wagon. And that little puppy was pulling it with all his heart, and he was happy to do it. And the boy was sitting in there proud and happy that it's happening. And it said, use each other wisely. And see, each of us wants to do something, and we enjoy something that we do. And if you know what you enjoy doing, it's so important to know what the other person enjoys doing, and then help each other do it. As opposed to, twist it and distort it. Well, you should this, you should that. Why don't you do more of this? Why? It's like, man, that takes all the joy out of life. Do you think that's possible?
So, Joe, what you're basically saying, if I hear you right, is it's coming out of this high control environment and honoring the two sovereign beings that should work together as a shared rhythm. It's relinquishing this control idea. Or trying to define reality for the other, or saying, oh, this is what's true, or this is what's acceptable. I'm going to control you. Or what emotions are permitted, or if I don't control, then I'm the one that's hurt. You're hurting me.
Yeah, absolutely. See, we can't forget that we're coming off of a slave-making organization. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, as well as most religions, are slave-making organizations. That's all there is to it. I mean, you can think anything you want about them, but governments use religions to groom slaves, because governments like slaves. They don't like sovereign citizens. Well, we are sovereign citizens, but they don't want us that way. And so they force us in that role, make us think, oh, but you're going to get prizes for it. And we hate ourselves being that way. And now we're just basically coming off of that and realizing, I need to be a responsible sovereign citizen, a responsible one, with another person who wants to be responsible as a sovereign citizen. And those relationships work well. They do.
So I think the key is, if I've synthesized Marisa's thoughts and Annie's comments there, we realize that the truth is important. It's at the core of love, but it's like anything, it needs a balance, because you can have this radical honesty that comes in, or this radical empathy that comes in. But with radical honesty, what happens? You've got to subtract the cruelty, right? That's the trap. And with radical empathy, you don't erase yourself. You don't go, oh, well, there's no joy that I must reward myself with. I'm just going to have this radical empathy, and I'm completely empty, and there's no more to give. I'm completely burned out. And I think what it is it's that love or having that truth as the core, but balancing that truth. And I think that's the work in progress, isn't it? None of us.
Seasoning it with salt, is that what you mean? Seasoning the truth with salt, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I was getting from you, Marisa. That's what I was hearing.
Yeah, I agree. I think like that's such a good point about radicalization, because in the organization, I always felt it was honorable to just speak truth despite what the person's feelings were, because I thought it was their life I was saving. And so I carried that over into my marriage, into my relationship. And that's not kind or empathetic or loving. And so that's why when I left the organization, I had to kind of figure out, what are my core principles? What are my core beliefs? And one of them I had to change to curiosity, because I was so certain in the organization, everything was black and white, and it was radical. And now when I'm curious, about how other people feel, particularly my husband, the way I come across, or whatever the situation is with my neighbors, when you're curious about how someone's receiving information, that's when you get to apply empathy.
That's right.
Because they're listening, you're like, wow, I never thought about it. I mean, some of the stuff my husband told me, I'm like, what the heck? I never in a million years would have thought that he would have taken something I said the way he took it. And now I'm able to, in strength and in truth, like what Joe said earlier, there's strength in being able to hold truth instead of cower like we were in the organization. I can be curious without taking it personal. I can, you know what I mean? And there's so much strength in that. And then you both can be stronger together. I think it strengthens your friendship too, because you're not always taking things so. Yeah, exactly.
That's discovery. You help each other discover something. That our eyes open when we discover things.
Mm-hmm.
Makes us glad we're alive.
We're more well-rounded, I think, as humans.
Yeah. What's that? Healthy boundaries, Marisa?
100%, which I didn't have in the organization also. They teach you not to have healthy. They teach you that I'll tell you what, I have had to learn boundaries, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, when I set a boundary, sometimes I would start crying when I set that boundary. When someone would try to push it, I mean, I'm talking very recently, and I've been seeing a psychologist for years now. And I would be like, I feel like I'm being mean. And there was nothing mean about the boundary. It was reasonable. It was respectful. It was kind. But because the organization taught me to diminish myself, to never think of my needs, and to always put everyone above my own, I feel guilt. I feel like a horrible person for not acquiescing to everyone's whims and their wishes when it puts me out. The same with, any relationship I had. So it's a work in progress. It's not easy, it's hard.
It's respectable. It's so respectable, Marisa. That's respectable.
Thank you.
It is.
So you can love somebody and say no.
Yeah.
Or you can forgive somebody and choose distance.
Exactly. Love them from afar. That's right.
I'm a firm believer in loving yourself first. I remember an elder was appalled at me saying that. And sure enough, there was a public talk about loving yourself, because I said, you cannot love another person if you don't have love for yourself. And I found that since I've left the organization, I'm more loving with my own family and my children. And I feel the love in me is growing and growing. And it's a good feeling, because I really believe love conquers all, no matter what.
Yeah.
Amen.
Love always wins.
That's right. Yeah. We're almost finished, but I just wanted to remind everyone about there's going to be a GoFundMe. I know it was on before, and I know people gave, and we really appreciate it. But for Vern, His procedure is going to be December 9th. And Shauna said she will put it on the website. So it'll be on the ExJWFriends. If anyone can even give a few dollars, that'll help. Because for this procedure, their insurance in Canada doesn't cover it. So it has to come out of pocket. And it will be December 9th. So our thoughts will be with Bern and Shauna. And if you could give a little bit, that would truly be helpful for them.
Joe and Fran, I want to say thank you, and thank you to the community again. Just gratitude and appreciation. We think about Vern, we think about Shauna, but really everybody here, and also you both as well. You coming in and chipping in just for that emotional support. I don't know how you do it, but that's definitely love in motion, and I say thank you very, very much. So
you're welcome. I stick around situations where I can get inspiration, and I am obligated to try to give it back. And I get inspiration from all of you. I do. I appreciate
Yes,
you all.
thank you, Matthew. Those words were beautiful.
Yep, I second that, Matthew.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Can I say something to Shauna? Is Shauna listening?
She should be.
Shauna, I wanted to say something to you because I worked in the graphics department. I want to tell you how extremely talented you are. I'm amazed at the graphic work that you do, and I hope you have a job doing graphics because you do exemplary graphic work. And I wanted to tell you that a while ago. And I enjoy some of the graphics that you put together. You're a very talented young lady.
Thank you.
Where do you see her stuff? Where can I see it?
It's all over everything.
Oh, it's all the. She does it all for Vern too. She does all the videos and stuff. She sets that all up.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, she's unbelievably talented.
And we can't do it without her. We wouldn't have this program without Shauna.
No.
It's a funny circle, hey, because without any of you guys, there wouldn't be a point of this program. So I guess we're all in this together, right?
That's right. That's
right. Thank you, Joe and Fran, as Matthew eloquently put. We appreciate your time again this week. Thank you, everybody in the audience. Thank you to the moderators. Jay really worked overtime tonight with YouTube screening. Just so you guys know, YouTube doesn't like the word ding dong. So I appreciate you toning down your language, but you're going to have to come up with something different. So it's always something. So anyways, Jay was working hard behind the scenes tonight, clearing most of the comments that YouTube was holding. So thank you, Jay. Thank you to all the guests. And Joe, last word goes to you.
Let's all keep living our lives with love.
Great.
Right back
Love
at
you all.
Love you
Love
too.
you guys.
Good night.
Have a good
Okay,
night,
y'all.
everybody.
Good night.